and salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be doing a book haul for all the books that I got at Apollycon. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel. Welcome back. Today we're doing a book haul, and I'm really excited, as you can tell. I went to Polycon, which is this really, you guys know what it is. You guys know. It's a really large book convention that takes place in Washington, D.C., and I went with some of my bookish friends, and it was quite possibly my favorite thing ever. Like, it was so much fun. I got a bunch of books. I brought a bunch of books to be signed. Side note, I did not film at all. Not a single clip, not a single thing. I was really just like living in the moment, okay? I was not focused on filming, so I do apologize that I don't have much content for you in that regard, but a lot of my friends did film and do like amazing videos, like Tori from Novel Life and Desiree from Genki Reader, so I will leave their channels down below if you want to see what we did, because we did things. We went like to a musical, we went and saw monuments, we saw authors. I didn't film. Also, I'm not going to be doing a video on like my Apollycon experience. I've seen so many of those videos like on TikTok and on Instagram. Here's what I'm going to say. I had a wonderful time. I feel incredibly blessed to have met so many of my bookish friends as well as my favorite authors, people that I have really admired and loved for so long, and it was just a joy to like see them in person. A lot of people were frustrated with maybe some of the lines in the hotel and some other things like that, but the thing I will say is I don't know how to say this in a nice way. I just feel like negativity gets posted more. It's more traction with the algorithm of TikTok and Instagram. Negative videos tend to do well. And it's very easy to be negative and to kind of like pick things apart. But at the end of the day, I had a great time. I felt incredibly blessed. I think the event was so much fun. I was so happy to see these authors and to see my friends, and that was my experience. There were so many people there and so many authors there, but I saw every single author that I wanted to see, and I even got like a bunch of books there. So I'm jazzed. I had a great experience. I would definitely do it again, but I'm also open to visiting like other book signings and conventions in the future. So that's just my little opinion on Apollycon, and let me show you some of the books that I got. Okay, so I'm sitting on the floor. I have all the books in front of me. I desperately need to organize, because here's the thing, babes. I actually don't have room for these books. No room whatsoever. I have 3 shelves in my room, full, triple stacked, bursting at the seams. I have books in my closet, full, triple stacked, bursting at the seams. Like, I have no room for any of it. But I bought it anyways. I brought books to sign, and I also bought books and got them signed by the authors there. So I'm actually going to show you all the books, not just the books that I bought there. So it's a little bit more than just a haul, but I hope you guys enjoy nonetheless. Okay, so when I went to Apollycon, I wanted to see 2 authors. Literally 2. I mean, I wanted to see many more authors, but I was like, if I see these 2 authors, it is worth it. It is worth the flight. It is worth the price. It is a day made for me. So those 2 authors were Sam Mariano and Sophie Lark, and I did get to see them. What a joy, what a joy. Okay, I need to give a backstory. This is gonna be like a chatty video as well as a haul. So you guys know I have been on my mafia romance bullshit recently. Like, I used to say that I hated mafia romance, and I freaking lied to you all. Like, I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It's so fun. And the author that really got me into the genre was Sophie Lark. It's so funny because Tori and Lacey said that they were in the elevator at the hotel, and they saw Miss Sophie Lark and Mr. Lark. They saw them in the elevator, and they didn't, like, they were chill, they were calm, they were cool as a cucumber. And I was like, what? Did you say hi? Did you cry? Did you freak out? Like, what happened? And they were like, no, just casual. We just asked if she was setting up her books, and she said yes, and that was the extent of the conversation. And I was like, wow, never could be me. Never could be me. I would not be calm or cool or collected in that situation. I would have had a whole full-blown panic attack in the elevator if I saw Miss Sophie Lark just casually walking around, okay? And as I am saying this, we're in the hotel lobby, and across the room, I see Sophie Lark. I see her. She does not see me. She does not know I exist, but I see her, and I start crying. Tears are falling down my eyes, uncontrollable. Out of my control. And like, the thing is I always joke, like, I'm a Cancer, I'm so sensitive, I always cry, but I really do. Crying is my default emotion. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm anxious. I cry when I'm mad. And when I saw Sophie Lark, I cried. And I like, you know, like a beautiful, like, you know, no. It was a Kim Kardashian cry, just sobbing, uncontrollable, having a full-blown panic attack. And everybody was like, are you okay? Do you want to go talk to her? And I was like, absolutely not. I do not want to go talk to her. Are you kidding me? So I did not see her that time. The next day was the actual book signing, and we had to get like wristbands to see popular authors because like fire hazards, you didn't want the line to get too long. So I got a really good number for her. Like some of these numbers were going in like the 600s, and I got like 17 for Miss Sophie Lark. So when we were let into the doors, I was like making a beeline to her table, and I got to meet her, and it was glorious. I only cried a little. I feel like I got my panic attack and my tears out the day before, so I was able to actually have some type of a conversation with her. She's beautiful. Her soul is beautiful, but like she's also beautiful. You know what I mean? Okay. Anyways, that's my story. I met Sophie Lark and it was glorious. Okay. Here are the books I got signed by her. The ones I got signed by Miss Sophie Lark. So let me go ahead and show you. I brought 2 books from the Brutal Birthright series. I brought the first book, which is Brutal Prince, and it is signed by Miss Sophie Lark, and I'm just ecstatic. So happy, so pleased. And I also brought Stolen Air because this one is actually my favorite book out of all the books like Sophie Lark has written and I've read so far. Like this book has me in a chokehold. It's a Beauty and the Beast retelling, kind of enemies to lovers. I'm gonna go over the plots of all of these, but I'll talk about this one because it's my favorite. Hero Miko is a part of the Polish mafia and he has some beef. He has some beef with the Irish and the Italian mafia. So he ends up stealing the youngest daughter of the Irish mafia and kind of like using her for ransom and for leverage and for revenge. Falls for her, obviously. And this is a Grumpy Sunshine romance that is perfection. I bought a couple books that she had at her table. She had the new cover of Stolen Air there, and it's so gorgeous. I could cry. I could literally cry all over again. Tell me this is not the most gorgeous book that you've ever seen. Tell me. You can't, because you'd be lying. It's gorgeous. I also picked up these 2 books with the new cover. So this one is There Are No Saints, and the second book in this series is There Is No Devil. I haven't read this series yet. I've read her Brutal Birthright series, her Kingmaker series, her Underworld series, and I'm like on this one now, so I'm really happy to have physical copies of it, and they're signed. How wonderful. Okay, so next, the other author that I was like super jazzed to see was Sam Mariano. If you guys don't know, I don't like bully romances, I don't like dark romances typically, but a couple months ago I was reading some of Jen from the book Refuge's favorite books ever, and she recommended a bully romance that quite literally ruined me, but in the best way possible. And that book was Untouchable by Sam Mariano. This book is dark. This book is intense. This book is gritty, but it's so good. It is so good. It has like so many trigger warnings. If you were to read this book, read the trigger warnings. It's a high school bully romance, and babe, let me tell you, it is dark. All right, I have to say the plot to this one too. Basically, our heroine goes to a school that is like really big on football, and one of the football players makes a pass at her, kind of assaults her, that makes her very uncomfortable. So she tells his coach and gets him kicked off the team his senior year and prevents him from playing some of like these major games. And the entire football team is real pissed. They're real mad that she did that. So they're kind of harassing her and bullying her, and as revenge, the guy that she got kicked off the team, he's not our hero, but he ends up kind of like getting a group of his friends to harass her, and in that group of friends is Carter Mahoney, our actual hero. And yeah, he he assaults our heroine in the beginning of the book, and then which, I mean, this does not sound great, but I just need you to stick with me. So our heroine takes that really traumatic experience, and she's so strong. She's like one of the strongest heroines that you will ever read about, and she really wants to know like more about our hero and like why he did what he did, what makes him tick. And they end up starting this really tumultuous relationship where they dabble in consensual non-consent and realizing that they kind of enjoy those darker parts of each other. And it's glorious. It's not for everyone. It's not for the faint of hearts. It's not, babe. But it's so good. And I was ecstatic to get this signed. Like, genuinely ecstatic. Okay, so this one is actually Jen's copy. Because Jen from the Book Refuge introduced this book to me, I did get her a signed copy. So, Jen, if you're watching this, this will be in the mail very soon. And then I got myself a copy obviously. Then I also got 2 more books by Miss Sam Mariano. So we got The Boy on the Bridge. I asked her like what book she recommends after reading Untouchable, because that's the only one I've read from her, and she said this one because the character at the end of that book is in this book. And then I saw that she has a menage romance, and you guys know how I feel about menage romances. Anything that has more than 2 people, sign me the fuck up. So this one is called Stitches, and it's another dark romance, menage romance. I bought this one and I got it signed. I went and saw Nikki Sloane, so I got a couple books from her. I already had The Pool Boy, and if you guys didn't know, The Pool Boy is like one of my favorite books of all time. Definitely in my top 5. I did a whole video just talking about this book because I loved it so freaking much. It's an enemies to lovers. No, it's not. It's an age gap romance. What am I talking about? What am I even saying? My brain is fried. It is not an enemies to lovers. Wow. This is an age gap romance where our heroine is older and she ends up dating her best friend's son. Very scandalous, very sexy. She's basically like suntanning topless in her backyard, and she doesn't realize that her pool boy is there. Our hero is there watching, seeing, admiring, and they end up starting a pretty taboo relationship. They bond over music and sexy times, and I mean, it's great. Truly great. So I got this signed, and then I picked up 2 of her books while I was there. I picked up The Architect, which is the next book in that series, and I also picked up The Rivalry by Nikki Sloane. Tessa Bailey was there, and I did get some books signed by her. So I brought 1 book to get signed by her, and that was My Killer Vacation. I got this book for my birthday. It's a romance cozy mystery, which sounds amazing. I haven't read it yet, but I did get it signed. And then while I was there, I also picked up 2 of her books. So I picked up Window Shopping and It Happened One Summer. This one I know that is getting like a potential movie adaptation. A lot of people love it. I actually haven't read it. So yeah, I need to read this one. It's very popular. I typically don't read a lot of contemporary, but I do like Tessa Bailey's writing, so we will see. Then I went to Adriana Herrera's table and I also cried. I was so excited to see her because I am Dominican and she is Dominican. I'm part Dominican, part Puerto Rican. Books, when I found her books, she was like one of the very first romance books that I saw Dominican characters on page and that culture represented in such a beautiful way. So when I went to her table, I really just wanted to like let her know how special that was and how she was doing something so special for our culture. Like, hey, reading all types of romances, but to see someone who looks like me or comes from a family like me get their happily ever after, that is so inspiring and so lovely, and I'm not gonna cry, but it means a lot to me, and she means a lot to me, so I had to tell her that. And honestly, she was so sweet. When I told her that, she was so gracious, and she was basically saying like she writes her romances for everyone, but specifically for people like me and in our community, and it was just really, I could cry just thinking about it because it was really sweet and touching. So I brought this one to get signed. This one is A Caribbean Heiress in Paris. I got this as a birthday gift from Crystal, so I got this one signed. Haven't read it yet, but I'm really excited to read it. Ended up picking up 2 books at her table. I already read this one, but like this is such a good book. It's a sapphic Christmas romance that's like inspired by the British Bake Show, and honestly like one of my favorite sapphic romances I've ever read. It's called Mangoes and Mistletoes. This is an enemies to lovers romance. Our characters are involved in a baking competition and they end up getting paired together, but they have like an enemies to lovers vibe. It's wonderful, so I had to get it signed. And then I also got The Duke Makes Me Feel signed, and I bought this one at her table. That cover though, like gorgeous. Desiree, I roomed with her. She's like my book bestie. I love her to pieces. She loves Roan Parish, like to pieces, loves her with everything in her heart and soul. We love that for her. And she always recommends the remaking of Corbin Whale. She gifted this to me for my birthday like, oh, not even this past year, like maybe the year before, and I haven't read it, but I brought it to get signed, and I'm really excited to read it. So I got this one signed by Corbin Whale, and then, no, not by Corbin Whale, by Roan Parish. What the fuck? Like, I literally cannot even talk today. And while I was at her table, I saw this one, and I was like, that looks very interesting. What is that? And she says it's kind of like a heist. I really didn't need to know much. I would have bought it because of the cover. So this one is called Heart of the Steel. How cute! And I also got this signed. Miss Sarah McLean was at Apollycon, and I got a couple books signed by her. I didn't buy any because I had a couple, so I ended up getting The Day of the Duchess signed, Brazen and the Beast signed, Bombshell signed. Love this book. It's so good. And then I got this one signed. It's called Never Judge a Lady by Her Cover. This is like the UK edition. I found this at like Goodwill. I didn't really know like what edition this was. I just thought it looked pretty. But when I brought it to my table, Sarah says this was like a UK edition, which was kind of fun. Sophie Jordan was at Apollycon and I bought 2 books from her and I brought 3 books to get signed. So the ones that I bought were The Duke's Stolen Bride. This is a part of the Rogue Files series. And then I also got The Virgin and the Rogue, which is also part of the Rogue File series. So I got these 2. She was so nice and so sweet and I was so happy that I got to talk to her. And then I brought these to get signed. So I brought Sins of a Wicked Duke. I got this like cool Harley Quinn novella. This one is called The Earl in My Bed. And then this one is The Duke Buys a Bride. So I'm really happy I got these signed. Tessa Bailey was at Apollycon and I got a lot of her books signed. I didn't buy any because I had so many. Are A Week to Be Wicked and Any Duchess Will Do. I also got The Governess Game and The Duchess Deal signed. And I got Do You Want to Start a Scandal signed. Those were all the authors that I brought books to get signed and like I intended to see them. But there were some other authors that I just picked up some of their books and I was really happy that they were there. So I was kind of walking around. I had a little bit of extra money because I brought cash and I had some extra cash. I saw Eva Chase's table and I had seen her books on Kindle Unlimited. A cool station that had a clipboard that was basically like pick my character's name. Where you could like pick her next character's name and you saw like all these people writing cool names and I was like, oh, I want to write a name. So I was talking to her and kind of telling her like what I liked in books, and it turns out she writes a bunch of reverse harem books, which is totally up my alley. So I ended up picking up this one. This one is called The Stalking Dead. Does this not look adorable? I'm pretty sure this is like a dark reverse harem if I'm not mistaken, but I just like loved the cover. But I know she writes a lot of books on KU, so I'm excited to read from her. She's a brand new author to me. Juliet Cross at Apollycon. I've read a couple of her books and I thoroughly enjoy them. This one is called Bright Like Wildfire and it's a small town romance. Carrie was reading this book on the plane and she said that she absolutely loved it and it was like one of her favorite small town romances, so I had to pick it up. I had to. A couple of Crystal Ash books on Kindle Unlimited, especially one that she did with Catherine Moon. It's like a priest romance and I loved it to pieces, so I had to stop by her table and pick up one of her books. This one is called Their Property and you guessed it, babe, it's a reverse harem. It's more than 2 people. It's exactly what I like. I think this is like an MC romance if I'm not mistaken. Sounds lovely, sounds divine. I have heard nothing but good things about this book. Everyone talks about it, everybody loves it. This is Hush Hush by Lucia Franco. It's a forbidden age gap romance if I'm not mistaken, and it's a hardcover. Pretty, very pretty, and I was super excited to get it signed. You guys want to hear something so funny? Okay, so I love Gina L. Maxwell. That's not the funny part. But what's funny is I love her books and I read some of her books. I read Pan and Hook and they're like modern day retellings of like Peter Pan and then Captain Hook. It's like a second chance romance between Peter Pan and Wendy Darling, and the second is a enemies to lovers romance between Captain Hook and Wendy's brother John. Male romance. It's wonderful. It's great. I've recommended it so many times, but I read it on KU and I didn't even know she was going to be there. And I'm walking by and Desiree's like, hey, isn't that the author you love so much and always talk about? And I look at her and I'm like, nope, not her. And she's like, no, this is definitely the author. Like, that's the book you always talk about. And I'm like, nope, that's not it. Because apparently she did a rebranding and I did not recognize her. And I walked right past her and Desiree was like, no, Samantha, this is her. So she goes to her and she's like, hey, did you write Pan and Hook? Those like modern day retellings of Peter Pan. And she's like, yeah, I just rebranded them with new covers. I felt like a fucking idiot. I was like, oh my god, I did not recognize you or your books. I'm so sorry, but I actually really love you. So anyways, I got her books. Okay, I got the rebranding. So this one is Lost and Found, and this is the Peter Pan retelling. It's a second chance romance. And then this is Lost in Darkness, and this is the enemies to lovers romance with Captain Hook. So I'm really excited to have these. Lastly, there was just like 2 books that I got. We went to a bookstore and I ended up getting volume 2 of Lore Olympus. I have the first volume and I saw this and wanted it. I haven't actually read the first volume yet, but I mean the art is so pretty and I will get to it, I promise. So this is not signed. I just bought this at a bookstore. And then when we were leaving, there was like a table of free books, and there was a bunch of this book right here. This one is called Perfect Assumption by Tracy Gerald. I picked it up. It's not signed or anything like that, but I picked it up because it was free. And I like free stuff. So I think this is an office romance. Alrighty then. That is my haul. My very chaotic Apollycon haul. Clearly, I love books and I need to find some room for all these books. So yeah, I had a great time. If I saw you during Apollycon, I love you and I hope I see you again very soon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!